This is a story of how I became the longest hardcore world to exist. Not only just in days, but also in hours.
1,000 flipping days, dude. 25,000 days. 1 million villager trades, dude. Let's go.
All done with no AFKing or no TNT duping. My story is a long one, but I promise you won't be disappointed. Our story starts with a bit of a tragic one. A blessing in disguise, devastated at the time, but would change my life for years to come. I started on Bedrock, where I played casually for 6 years until I came across Hermitcraft. That opened my eyes to the possibility of Minecraft from their creativity and positive impact on the community. I knew I had to make the switch from Bedrock over to Java. I never had a PC in my entire life, nor did I have the money to invest in one. But I knew I had to do it if this wasn't a dream that I wanted to achieve. I was a heavy skateboarder for most of my life, 10 years, so I wasn't really technologically advanced either, and didn't really have little to no gaming experience except for retro games. But I really wanted to achieve this goal. So I started a Let's Play series on YouTube. Things were going well, but nobody was watching, where one day everything changed. Last 13 episodes we've been building on this world, and this is what I logged into today. Yeah, no, I don't know what happened in my world. I don't know how I got this corrupted. Corruption. Everything gone. Lost. Demotivated, and I asked YouTube what I should do next. That you guys want to see me play hardcore. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I'm going to leave it up to a unanimous vote. I want to see just how many votes we can get. Well, nobody ever commented until my best friend Outsider suggested hardcore. It's a shame that we had to restart, unfortunately. I mean, it definitely was not planned. And trust me, I was devastated. I just logged into the world and I was immediately killed. Could be the best thing that ever happened. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? What started with a concept leapt into a story. The construction of my base, the Dojo, where I would hone my ability as a builder. Humble beginnings. Terracotta, and we're going to turn it all into cyan terracotta, which I think is going to be like the main building block of what we're going for. We got some glass smelting up here. Not complete, don't get me wrong. It's a piece. But I want to show you guys a little bit of what we came up with for our first base. Oh no, I'm really trying not to look at it. It is public. The dojo isn't anything fancy, by all means, but is more symbolic of a bigger story. This was my first stepping stone in Minecraft, my very first circle. I quickly outgrew my base and needed a storage room, so I started building down, like our natural architects we see all around us, ants. I started to connect mountains, dig tunnels, and corridors. I built not one, not two, but 3 different storage rooms as my world started to expand. My main storage, the brain of my world, a place to bring to life many builds to come. This is where I do most of my planning for pallets, but I knew I also needed something efficient. I knew I needed an auto sorting system, something that I couldn't sort myself. It wasn't until about 3,000 days into this world that I knew I needed to start building, and building fast. I needed a storage room I can spend less time sorting and more time building. So came the final design of my storage room, always changing as time goes on to incorporate new blocks and increase in efficiency. This project has taught me to better plan for the future. With so many blocks in this game, it was very daunting for me to figure out a way I could sort all of these items. It was overwhelming, but I think I came up with a design that works for me. This is a simple design that is very well laid out with the room to improve and to expand for future projects. The dojo is what started the entire Masa project. From within the walls of the dojo, water is brought in to breathe life back into this very mesa. This is a huge challenge for me, using limited blocks and working towards creating my biggest project yet, a mega transforming project, terraforming the entire mesa, where my goal is to make this very mesa unrecognizable to anyone, not knowing the origin of this biome. But this would make for a greater challenge than I first intended. I not only needed to create different points of interest in this world, but I needed to also create immersion throughout these thousands of blocks this mesa expands. So, started the first 3 small villages within the mesa, starting with Halfling Hills. Inspired by Lord of the Rings in the Hobbitshire, a small hobbit-run village with every house holding their very own party. 2. Harvest Hollows, an autumn-themed village on the coast of the Masa, to later expand up the hill, a colorful village with character and known for its pies throughout the world, from a cart ran by Christian who resides here. To lastly, Enka's Bay, a fishing town on the very side of the ocean, where sailors come and bring their very own shipment of fish they've caught on their journey. As things started to expand, so did my need to be able to connect and create immersion throughout my world. I needed to connect things in a very fast and safe manner. So, came out to be one of my biggest projects in this world, connecting over 17 massive builds throughout my world. The Nether Hub. The Nether Hub is my network, housing 4 Wardens in the center to create a heartbeat you hear thumbing throughout the halls. To me, this brought the build to life, but there's also a dark side to this hub. This is my crossroads between life and death to bring balance to my world. Ruled by the Queen of the Damned and the King of the Crossroads, came the contract of life. But first, to be worthy of another chance at life, I have to earn it. As a ghost between planes, life or death, I must fight for the right and sacrifice something value to me. God Apple. This is the Coliseum, where I must prove my worth as a warrior in a max level raid, increasing the odds that my opponents are going to have better enchanted gear while fighting me. A true testament of accuracy and strength, where losing it all could be any wrong choice that I make within these walls. This is the first step towards earning my chance at another life, ruled by the god of war. If we are victorious in our battle, then we move forward back to the hub, where I lay my head before the Queen of the Damned and the King of Crossroads to await their judgment, to earn another totem. If not, we perish within these walls of this Coliseum. Hardcore comes with a great sacrifice. The longer you survive, the more you can lose in a blink of an eye. This awoke something deep inside me. My will to always strive to better myself as a player. I started to strategize how I would survive in my world and create longevity in one word: beacons. I needed to cover my world with beacons to create full coverage throughout. If I wanted my best chance at surviving as long as possible, beacons was something that I needed to invest in and invest in fast. But this is not an easy resource to accumulate, especially in mass. We all know those first 3 wither skulls we've got in our world, and just how long it took us to get those 3 skulls. I needed to expedite this process in a massive way. This gave birth to the Wither Skeleton Farm, where I could farm a massive surplus of skulls to start the very first ingredient to creating beacons. The Wither Skeleton Farm came with a massive challenge on its own. This wasn't going to be easy. Known as one of the most dangerous farms to complete in hardcore Minecraft, it also came with a hidden poison. Slowly draining myself to push forward, seeing nothing but netherrack for months on end, for what seemed like an endless amount of digging, by hand, without any help from TNT duping.
On. Bruh. Watched it.
I finally completed a massive notch on my belt and dug my very first perimeter. Although I left the lava for looks, I still am very proud of this accomplishment because I know the mental strength it takes to dig one by hand for the first time, but I regret nothing. This farm alone is worth its weight in gold and the drops that it provides to me daily, whether it may be full blocks to supply my super smelter, or even just building wise because it's such a beautiful block. The immense amount of bone meal I need for various farms are all supplied by this one particular farm itself, and not to mention beacons.
This is Shadow when he fell off the end island. He was going to go fight the dragon. He went to go fight the dragon. He fell off the end island, ran to the void, died. So I made a little monument for him. He also got killed by a creeper one time, so we put that there too. And then we got a gas right here. This gas just hangs out and all that kind of stuff. He just vibes. That's not a real gas, but it'll actually shoot fireballs.
But before we get our star, we need to look at the components on creating beacons en masse. This meant that we needed iron, and a lot of it. So I created an iron farm to have a very consistent flow of iron within my world. not only for beacons, but for various different items. Iron is one of the most valuable Minecraft resources you can have. Early game, mid game, and even late game. It has really kickstarted my emerald economy, since stacking raid farms isn't an option in this world. It is just not something I do. So I've capitalized on the opportunity of trading over 1 million items with traders who not only bank a crazy amount of experience for my final score, but to fill my storage room with a plethora of different items that I would get from trading a huge surplus of iron from my villagers. But this isn't the only trading in the game that is overpowered. This brings us to the next element to building as many beacons as we can: bartering. I knew I needed gold and a lot of it, fast. Since I don't AFK in this world, I'll have to make the most of my time in certain areas. So, I needed to build myself a portal-based farm, so I can maximize the amount of gold I'm getting per hour with the least amount of time spending there. I also needed to create a creative way to have my gold farm underneath my bartering farm, so I could not only spend gold while making gold, but organize things as it went on. Bartering brings a massive amount of items to the loot pool. But there's one huge ingredient we're looking out for here the most: obsidian. Every beacon needs about 3 obsidian. That means if we're going to build a base of 6 hex beacons, that's going to be 18 obsidian for every 100 blocks in my world. Do I need to remind you this world is massive? I need a ton of obsidian, needless to say. So much, in fact, not even bartering could keep up with this. I needed to start hollowing out some of my obsidian towers in the end as well. Which brings us to our final destination. Something that shows no mercy to no one and can swallow a world in a matter of seconds. The end. Where I needed to set up my Nether Star farm and create my beacons, but first, I needed to conquer my fears of the void and embrace it. I wanted to create a statement of patience and the ability to remain calm while under a consistent pressure of looking down at a bottomless pit of despair. I wanted to clear the main end island by hand, mining every day over 2 weeks and finishing just under 900,000 endstone mined, with no way to haste this block. My pinky was killing me. But we pulled it off. Before we can start with the God of Portals, we needed to first unlock all of the portals, meaning I had to defeat the End Dragon at least 20 times. So I did that very thing, then proceeded to do something I've never seen anyone do before, and that's defeat the Ender Dragon without an End Island, over an open void where it was only me and the dragon. This truly made me feel like I conquered my fear of the void, but also a great respect for it too. as it shows great power that could swallow my whole world within a matter of seconds.
Bro. This is the last one. Yo, this one's for Shadow.
After completing the dragon fight, unlocking all the gateways to the outer islands, I started the God of Portals. As my final stage to making this world increasingly safe, having a simple way to farm wither stars for my beacons that would later help save this world in more ways than one. The God of Portals then granted me the access to his domain, allowing me to build within his realm. For those of you who don't know this, but from the center of the main end island, you have about 1,000 block radius of open void until the outer islands. I saw this as a big blank canvas for many future ascensions moving forward. Their very first build over the open void, the Turtle Master. I thought this was a very creative way to farm turtle eggs, which is kind of an essential building block for a lot of different farms, such as gold farms and some zombie farms and trident farms, to lure undead into kill chambers. So I really wanted to make this happen. I think it's also a very beautiful building block to incorporate in a lot of your builds, since it's so unique. This is one of my very first mega organics that I free-handed by hand and just mirrored the turtle over to the other side. I was heavily inspired by Torterra and Pokemon and wanted to create a turtle who swims through the open void in constant search of food, which in this case are the mushrooms that are growing on their pillars in our main end island, on a constant voyage for food, where it also stores its eggs on its back because there's nowhere else to lay these eggs. This became one of my favorite builds, even to this day, but it's so hard just to choose one. Our next end build takes us over to a massive build, a very elegant, beautiful build where we would celebrate all of our up and coming achievement. This is also where I learned and wanted to hone in on my skill on creating better looking organics. So I tackled these giant blossom trees and these really cool looking spotlights. I wanted to create a very organic looking tree, something that looked like birds could fly into and live in. This was a skill that one of my friends, Twitch, taught me how to do. Somebody who is extremely good at doing organics, Dame the Dime. So I have him to thank for this process. But we're here to celebrate the achievements that we have accomplished in this world. So we have Sizzlesaur, the god of celebration, which brought to life our board of accomplishment. Every single ascension we have completed goes onto this board. Every item that we can get to 1,000,000 also goes on this board. And every single farm that we've completed will also make it to this board. This is our room of achievement, which I think is extremely inspirational and very motivating to keep us moving forward. And for some of our bigger achievements, we even celebrate massive fireworks shows. This brought to life our second firework testing facility where our floor is actually functional in here, where we can look at our fireworks shows before we bring them to life to celebrate massive milestones in this world, like hitting 20,000, 25,000, and potentially 30,000. This is a really fun build, and I definitely recommend doing this for anybody who struggles with any sort of motivation moving forward. And it's always a nice time to come over here just to reflect on the grind and the journey that so many of you guys have become a part of. So far, you've seen a handful of my ascensions that we've completed. But these all came after our very first one, where it all started. Our very first ascension in this world, the God of the Sea. That would not only be built for my best friend, editor, and the only reason I stand here today, but also create the heart of my world, expanding into a massive network Hall of Fames, spanning thousands of blocks, filling up with supporters who have joined me along the journey. Back in the day, these were just concepts that would later become the pillars of this hardcore world to create a dynamic world that is always changing throughout its lifespan, which all started with a pirate. Outsider, the god of the sea. But Outsider wasn't always a god, but was granted this power that later became a curse to gift him another chance at life. It was all started with this very monument. After sailing sleepless nights from a map found within ancient ruins, he came across this very monument. Not knowing what awaits him foolishly, Outsider leapt without fear into the depths of this very temple, until he was met with a foe he has never seen before with very powerful magic. Becoming trapped within these walls without a way to escape, Outsider later drowned, but not until after he found the heart of the sea. It was later this heart of the sea would bring him back to life, but with a price. Not only to bear the scars of a drowned, but no longer able to escape the perimeter of this monument, bound for all eternity. With this curse also grants him power, where he focuses and amplifies his magic through his trident to defeat anyone who opposes him. But there is one very important thing about water people forget. Beyond the power and destruction, there is life, which is exactly why this is the heart of my world, and where I start and end every one of my live streams on Twitch, for hundreds of people to enjoy and become a part of. But this cannot all be done alone, without the help of a team that I trust to help me keep track and to organize all of this. The Hall of Fame houses over 400 plus members who have all supported me throughout this journey. One of my most expansive projects yet, with hundreds of items for people to buy for their plots. And as time went on, so did the demand for items and more rare loot, which sparked the conquest of us getting our very first blue axolotl, which 3 full months of breeding axolotls every single day, we finally got it.
No way, dude, we got it! Oh my god! We got the blue axolotl! Holy fudge!
A true testament of time and dedication for the Hall of Fame. But it didn't just stop here. We needed even more than we ever did before, which drove us to make other farms that you wouldn't normally make in other worlds, such as trident farms, because we needed to increase our opportunity to get more rare items in the game. This is all a ton to keep track of, and takes lots of planning to bring this all to life in a very unique style of content with so many moving parts. and I have my moderators to thank you for that. Which brings us to the armor of my world. Disguised as a bright and beautiful build and built on one of the most beautiful, naturally generated, heart-shaped mushroom islands. But more importantly, was built for one of the most important people in my life. One of my most trusted moderators. That has helped me make so much of this possible and happen for you guys today. The Princess of Wonderland, based off of Alice in Wonderland and the Beauty and the Beast, with a warden up in one of her towers. This build is supposed to make you feel the magic and the awe all around you, while you soak in the color and the sounds, creating a vibe that is welcoming and warm. This was a massive challenge to me at the time. Building something so significant for somebody who has been by my side for so long, countless hours, was a massive amount of pressure that I knew I needed to make it up to her. So, I think I did that very thing. But Bunny is one of the many moving parts that keep this world moving forward. The god of light, Zopa, has been by my side since the very beginning of this world. He set place within the Nether, housing a blaze farm, providing enrods in form of light throughout this world, but has a bit of a dark side, currently fighting a war against the piglins, ran by the god of red rivers. Neighbors but enemies. Zopa, who leads a relentless, never-ending army of blazes that spawn within the lanterns in his base, against a brute force of the piglin army. This very war has been going on for ages, relentlessly, fighting to take over the Nether realm, claiming the outer edges and uncharted area of the underworld, claiming a valuable resource, Nether gold. Said to take on more powerful enchantments for mages, creating a more powerful force within the Nether, and feeding the greed of the piglin, who run their own powerful training economy, ran by the god of red rivers, Elusive. To keep him in power in this part of the Nether, Elusive must maintain a very high output of gold trades. Neither side is good nor bad, but filled with greed to become more powerful, to expand their own empires. But with power comes corruption, without a balance between the two. There's no telling where this war could lead in the future. Where there is war, there is also peace within the world. A place to come together as a community and bring something magical alive. This very mountain seemed magical enough to me at the time. I knew I had to build something very special here for somebody who has been very important to the community. Luke, the god of pandas. First, to understand how the god of pandas came to be about, we need to first understand and learn about Bad Roommate. Bad Roommate was a panda who traveled thousands of blocks by boat in the Nether to get to our house, where he became a beloved member of our community. He was definitely a joy to be around, and so was Luke and his little brother Mono, until one day he went missing. We think Bad Roommate went into the Nether, but I still think otherwise. This became symbolic to me, and I knew I had to fulfill Luke's wishes to make him a proper home. because just because somebody isn't around anymore doesn't mean that they are forgotten. The god of pandas was supposed to be my quest on getting the rare brown panda, all while making you feel small, surrounded by large butterflies and bees. My first real step to getting better at organics, with the log bridges throughout connecting everything. Organics have always scared me as a builder and continue to do so, but so did roofs as well, and I needed to get better at them if I wanted to take my building to the next level. So, became the god of trees, where I took a different approach to a tree farm. To this day, people do not understand why I cut logs by hand, but my stats will speak for themselves one day. I knew I had to build in this area, and I wanted something simple yet relaxing. So I did that very thing, all while playing around with different types of roof shapes and styles, where I could gain confidence and not fear roofs as much as I did before. This sparked something inside me though, knowing if I set my mind to something, I could get it done. And knowing and learning is the process along the way. I wanted to push myself like I've never done before. I wanted to build a city. I've always wanted to build a city. I've always been so intrigued by how vast they are, but I've never been good at doing modern building. And I've always wanted to be able to create vehicles, which I think bring a massive amount of life to a city. You cannot have a city without vehicles. But this is no ordinary city. This city also houses my industrial district, which is a home to numerous big farms of this world, where I can just be building within the city while multiple farms are working within these walls. This was all built as a challenge from the god of redstone, where I built a city and plan to keep expanding this city throughout time. Om's tower is massive to me. This is a redstone museum. This isn't just a museum where I throw redstone that I have just watched a tutorial for. No, it's bigger than that. Everything that you see within this redstone museum is redstone that I've actually learned how to do, and I can do off the top of my head without a tutorial. To me, that's a testament of knowledge of my technical side of Minecraft. As the years go on, I want to be able to fill these walls all the way up and just look back at all the technical Minecraft mechanics I've basically built throughout my time here. But I didn't just want to improve as a technical Minecrafter, which is a huge work in progress, by the way, and something that I continue to struggle with to this day, but I wanted to become an even better builder. I needed to tackle where it was the most weak, doing organics. So I took on my very first floating island, where I not only built it once, but I built this thing twice. Because doing something on this big of a scale, one small wrong move can change the course of the entire shape of the island. But I think we got there in the end, after about a week and a half of pretty much molding this rock into something that kind of looked like it was brought out of the ground. Then we built a shape that I've never built before. We put a hexagon on the very top of this and built a castle that I wanted to play around with the color orange and make it symbolic between the two different foxes in this world, the orange fox and the white fox, which I think we did pretty well. And, of course, had to throw in a frog sanctuary on the inside, so I had access to the green frog, which is definitively the best frog in the game. So, that to me was a massive win. But, obviously, I still need to improve on this type of build style. Which brings us to a completely different build style on the other end of the world, where I finally had the chance to build something underwater for the god of drowns, Healer. A dual-wielding drowned to be the first one of its kind to spawn, created a very cool lore. This was a huge learning curve that made me realize that not everything works or can be placed underwater, but is always going to be one of my most beautiful builds underwater with a beautiful fog effect that turned out so nice that I've never actually seen done underwater. This castle also houses my very first, not one, but 2 Elder Guardians that I was able to trap from a monument thousands of blocks away. Actually wasn't too bad. Same things goes with these Guardians. Really cool glow squids that help light up these really cool tanks in the front of Healer's castle. And the very beautiful bridge that leads up to it, which still makes me fall in love with this build more and more every day. My love for fog effects doesn't just end there though. You can see them all throughout my world as a staple in so many of my builds. But one of the biggest ones can be found at my witch farm, placing over 120,000 glass, where the goddess of magic resides, protecting something sacred within the very binds of her books. Protected by a great magic, stopping anyone who isn't trusted within the mansion, but one, who won't be revealed till a later date. This swamp also houses one of the most useful farms, something I didn't see at the time myself, before I started playing hardcore. Potions. Potions have quickly become a massive staple in this world. Slow falling for relocating different mobs, fire resistance for dealing with lava, night vision for deep darks, and of course, XP potions for repairing for my elytra on the go. But only available through maxed out clerics. Potions are very useful when in a pinch, something I found myself always needing on almost a daily basis. This swamp also houses a witch farm where I can supply my potion brewer with various ingredients and water bottles, which cuts my workload in half. I knew once the Wardens came into the game, it wasn't meant to be defeated, but that never stopped me.
Alright, now we run. Holy fuck. Where's all my other dudes at? I'm gonna die. We're a warrior. We did it. We flippin' did it!
But that wasn't enough. I had to do something that really made me stand out in a massive way. I needed to harness the power of the Warden and capture them throughout my world.
We did it! We flippin' did it, dude. He's in there. Alright, let's not F this up. Everybody relax. Systematically lock it up. Night, Ara. Flip. There he is. Hoggies, dude, first try.
This world houses 10 different Wardens. 4 in my hub, 1 in my sewer, 1 up in Bunny's castle, and 4 more ready to be transported to their new home in the future. I wanted to conquer the most dangerous mob in the game and show people I can take something that strikes fear into the hearts of other worlds and make it my own pet. But not only that, but to use them in a very atmospheric way to create a very unique area throughout my world. I knew playing it safe wasn't going to make this world stand out from the rest. So I needed to step it up, not only by building my redstone knowledge, but the lengths I'm willing to go to prove that this world is truly something special. Frog Haven. A place for the community to grow, based off of an Animal Crossing island ran by Melly, sparks something magical. Also, like a second Hall of Fame for those who have ascended in this world to create and customize their very own house and plot. The vision for this island goes a long way. I put the power into the community to do something special and to create their own very unique individuality here. This style of building was a massive challenge to me. Building houses is something simple and small, but laying them out in a way that makes sense and flows properly was very tough, but I think we pulled that off. Now I actually feel confident with small houses and different roof templates, so I'm able to teach you guys in the future. But it didn't just start here, where I dove into building different style of houses. Slimeville was our very first try at a community-ran town. At the time, it lacked flow and a consistent palette throughout, and it always bothered me. It grew on me once I saw past that, as a learning opportunity. I got to play around with palettes I never would have thought about to begin with. Twitch chat really throwing me curveballs, really taught me a lot moving forward. Slimeville was made for the god of slime, Colonel. Based on a corrupt town ran by a shady mayor, said to make its way through exporting slime from the old slime factory in town. But something tells me this isn't true, and that there's something else going on in here. Something that's trying to be hidden from the peering eyes of the public. Something I never considered when making this world was actually the massive upkeep on all the moving parts. Whether it was clearing and organizing farms or restocking farms all throughout my world, I've noticed I made plenty of mistakes while creating this world in terms of organization and efficiency that I will prove upon in time and learn from for Season 2 when I have to part ways with this world. As the world grows, so does my hunger for getting better at this game. Something I've been so passionate about for so many years. I may have the longest hardcore world, and some think I would stop if I ever lost it. But this is just the start of an epic journey. This world has molded me into a builder I am today. Everyone has their story. Mine is a bit different. But with all of your guys' support, I can promise this journey will not come to an end anytime soon. I'm going to continue to push myself, pushing the limits of hardcore and changing the game. This is just the very beginning. With only 21 ascensions completed within this world, with another 50 on top of that, whether it happens in this world or the next. The one thing I can promise you guys is I will get it done. And I also promise that I won't rush through any one of these builds and try to create something that is inspiring to all of you guys. Because when I first clicked that button in this world to create this world, I never realized that I was going to become an inspiration to so many people around me. I never saw this coming, but I want to take this time to say a massive thank you to those of you guys who support me to this very day. If you guys have made it to the end of the video, please put a 1 inside the comment section. And if you guys like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you guys want to subscribe for more, definitely hit that subscribe button because we're going to have a lot more content where this came from. This is my first movie, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a huge learning curve, but I enjoyed the entire process. I'll see you guys in the next one.